All right, everybody, it's time for another installment of the remaking of an old song. This is getting to be one of the last installments. This is probably the last guitar installment. Although I'm doing a related video to go along with this. Here's why. I don't have any video clips to go along with this one. I did do video of some of the lead guitar takes. However, I wound up actually using none of those takes in the song. Here's why. It's not that none of them were played well enough. It's that I was paying more attention probably to the playing of the parts and to the doing of the video, and not so much to the levels on my recording. So the levels were a little soft, and I thought it's going to be kind of a pain in mixing. I'll wind up boosting it with a compressor and it'll be dumb. I hate that. So it's better to just retake it and have your levels be better and do it that way. So the audio that I'm going through with this is the actual audio, but I don't have video of me doing it. Now, I could have pulled a fast one and done fake, because, I mean, I played the same part. It's not like this part changed. I could have had a fake thing, but that's too much work for really not any rewards. So on this one, it's just this the whole time. This is all you're going to see. Enjoy. I originally tracked all of the leads with the green guitar through the Marshall. For this, I wound up, probably because I had just redone that middle center rhythm track. I had the 5150 hooked up, and I decided on a whim to grab this EVH Striped Series guitar, or 5150 series guitar, never mind, and decided to use that, and I guess lo and behold, you know, if you take a Eddie Van Halen signature guitar and run it through an Eddie Van Halen signature amp, it sounds pretty decent. The only real change I made on the miking, I moved the mic over. I didn't even really look. I moved the mic over like a half inch and called it good, and then just started recording and it was fine. So that's really how this came out. So I guess we'll start off. I will play, this is the intro on the song. I did this with the Phase 90. There's also a track without the Phase 90 that I don't think I'll use. I don't have it in here because I really like the Phase 90. Let's take a quick listen here. So that's the figure. Now, if you remember back to that first video that I did, that's the figure that kicked off really the original recording of the song. That comes back in as a precursor to the solo, and then it also is the outro of the song. So you'll hear that later. I recorded that, like I said. I originally used the Phase 90 on it, then I did one without, just in case I didn't like the Phase 90 in the mix. True confessions, I am a huge fan of the MXR Phase 90 sound. I love that pedal. It's probably one of the top favorite pieces of guitar gear that I've bought as years have passed. I bought that right about the time I actually originally wrote this song. So I bought that in about 1999. And I mean, the thing looks rough. It's been in I don't know how many different bags. It's the knob is broken off, so the pot is, you have to adjust it on the shaft of the pot. It's kind of wonky that way, but it's a great pedal. So I kept that sound, and there's a figure that goes through the chorus. You'll hear it. It goes, it plays a pattern of fifths along the chords of the chorus. So let's take a listen to that here. It's in the left ear if you have headphones on or earbuds. The whole point in that was really to just add interest to the chord progression during what was the course of the song. I do that in a couple of other ways here that I'll illustrate. Actually, one right after this. There's another part. This is pretty much the end of the Phase 90 recordings. Everything else that I did with the Phase 90 was a variation on the intro, either for the prequel or for the before the solo, or for the outro. So what I did then, there was another set of guitars. I didn't re-record this. This is actually from, not the original demo, but from a recording I did on this, I don't know, a few years ago, really. And this also goes on during the chorus. And this is done just to add a little extra lift in the chorus, just another little piece of information to add interest to the song. So it's mixed really low. You won't hear it a lot unless you're listening for it. But here it is soloed, and it's just that little octave sliding around. I did that on a couple of the choruses because basically I wanted each chorus of the song to build in some way from the one previous, so that the song is always going somewhere. Otherwise, there isn't really that movement, and once you've heard one chorus, why would you want to hear the next? Once you've heard one thing, why would you want to hear the next? So part of the way that the song is arranged is to make sure that there's always some feature coming up. Similar to that, I added these fill solos that never had been in the song before. So if you watch the companion video that goes along with this, you'll hear, actually you'll see the performance. And I'm going to go through in that video. I'll link it at the end of this. I'll go through that video and actually show a bunch of takes. There was one take from that set which had originally been my keeper until I realized that the levels were just too quiet to really work with very well. And that was disappointing because I actually did like that take. I like what I kept here too. What you learn in that other video, basically, the first fill solo was written, it was canned. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And if you're a guitar player, you know that that's a fairly simple thing to play. So it's not really hard to replicate at all. The second was a series of improvisations, then I would keep what I liked. This isn't exactly what I had played on my first keeper solo, but it still works. It still fills the bill of what I wanted. And what I wanted was for the first fill solo to be kind of bluesy, aggressive, and to really take that part into the chunky rhythm guitar. And then the other one, I wanted to have a little fancier, a little bit more notey, a little more diatonic, and to have that just add, for one thing, some variation from the first one, and so there's some interest there. So it's not just like the same thing once again over and over again. It kind of is also to create the illusion of there being multiple guitarists playing. Obviously, both of those things fall well within the typical sort of stuff I might play, but by making one very much one way and the other very much the other way, it I think at least creates some sort of impression of there being more minds at work than just mine, which is what I want. All right, and here comes the main solo, and so the main solo is obviously the solo itself. So there was the main solo, and as you can hear, it's not a super complex solo, particularly in the beginning. It's pretty straightforward, and then there's the little flurry at the end with the harmony. Now, probably the toughest part of that was the harmony, and again, I'll go through the tracking of it on the other side. Why did I keep some takes? Why did I not keep some takes? But the big concern for me is to not have a bunch of extraneous noise, and also to ensure that the harmonies at the end were tight. I didn't want to be editing. Once again, I have time. I can do another take. I didn't want to be editing a bunch of things. Also, the solo was rooted in a few improvisations that I sort of blended together into something that I liked. So it's not fully improvised, but it's not, well, it's not improvised at this point at all. It was originally partially improvised, and then partially I worked out the rest. Most solos that you've heard that you liked are usually comped, partially composed, or completely composed. Every once in a while someone goes in and just throws something off the top of their head, and it's fine, or it's great, or it's whatever. But more often than not, there's some amount of work that went into the creation of it, even if it's improvisation based on a lot of prep work. Now here is basically the rough equivalent to the lead guitarist rough equivalent, kind of, to that dream you have where you're in school and you're in your underwear and everyone can see you and you can't get covered up. Here is the lead guitar tracks with no effects, just basically what went straight into the mic, and no other tracks going on. So this is naked lead guitar tracks, and so you can hear them, warts and all, played together. There you have it. So the first thing I'm going to point out, there's during the sort of melodic part at the beginning of the do do do, there's a sort of a bit of a skronky sound on some of the pick attacks. That's partially me plucking the string with the pick into the frets, and then as the string starts to oscillate, there's a little bit of a fret buzz going on there, along with you know, I guess whatever else the string might be hitting, most likely just the frets anyway. So what I wouldn't try to do that. At the same time, in the context of the mix, it doesn't really cause a problem. It certainly sounds like I'm digging in, and I guess technically I really am digging in there, but it didn't concern me any great amount. Like I said, in the mix it works just fine. You'll hear that here in a moment. And then there's the harmony solo. Actually, the harmony part is harder to play than the main solo. And then it's actually more common than a person might think. Once you decide to harmonize something, you have this idea. It's like, oh, that'd be neat if that had a harmony. And then you do the harmony, and the harmony winds up being harder to do than the main thing. So that harmony part gave me fodder. I'll probably do a couple of videos about things that might be useful to other guitar players when it comes to learning some things like that. But anyway, to kind of wrap this up, I will just play all of the guitar parts that have been done so far. Now, what have we done so far? We did bass guitar, 2 tracks, 1 mic to 1 DI off of the attenuator. We did 3 tracks of rhythm guitar, 1 left, 1 right, 1 up the center. We did the intro guitar with the Phase 90 along with the chorus guitar. That's that same guitar. And then there's that little octaved part that also goes into the chorus. There's the lead guitar playing in that little fill section, and then also in the solos. So if you put all of that together, you wind up with this. And now I've edited this down. The overall song will be a little over 5 minutes long once there are vocals. But in the absence of vocals, just to kind of give you the overview of where we've been so far, here it is, just guitars that we've done in this little video series. And there you have it. Couple of hours of work over the course of a few days, and that's what we wind up with. So thank you for watching. For more information, please feel free to watch the other videos. I'll have them linked wherever around here. And subscribe. If you have any questions on any of the stuff that I've done or comments, leave them below. I'm trying to address as many of these things as I can think of to address. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.